Guys, I work an office job, and I do not fit in. Like every morning, as people are talking about things like what the weather's supposed to be like for the weekend, or what the travel was coming into work, I am standing there with every fiber of my being going, do not talk about gargoyles right now. Nobody wants to hear your theories. No matter how accurate they may be. Like an office job's not a good fit for me. Like I worked at a comic book shop for 3 years, and I earned my paycheck by just talking about my zombie survival plan. But when I do that at this job, I get told things like, stop wasting company time. And what do you mean you hit a crossbow in the office? So they don't like me there. I don't know, I think I don't want to be there. Like, growing up I never wanted a cubicle job, but even if I had one, I always assumed I'd be like the coolest possible person. Like someone would be like, hey, who's that badass in the corner? Yo, that's Carbone. He plays in a band on the weekends. And he's really good at Excel. But the reality is like, hey, who's that big guy who hums to himself all day? Yo, that's Carbone. He does not like eye contact. And he's really good at Excel. I know I hate having an office job when it's nice out. Like I'm excited for summer to come back around. I like swimming. I am one of those fat guys who swims with a t-shirt on. Not because I have like low self-esteem or anything. I just like everyone to know that I think Skinner rules. The one thing I do hate about summer though is I hate bug bites. I get torn up. Like growing up, my grandmother always told me that I had like a bit of the sweet blood, which I think is just like an old-fashioned folksy way of saying likely to develop type 2 diabetes. I don't know, I hate mosquitoes, but I love scratching. I love scratching bug bites. Like, I like it more than I like sex. But not all sex, just the sex that I personally am physically capable of having. Like, look at me, I can do like 3 positions tops. Missionary, cowgirl, and cowgirl missionary. Which is where me and a lady travel back in time to Wild West days. And convert Native Americans to accepting Jesus Christ as their one true Lord and Savior. It's pretty hot, so. And I'm trying to do this thing lately, I'm trying to live in the moment more. Like, I had a bit of a desk scare. Like, if I was to get hit by a car tonight, my tombstone would read, "Here lies Jamie Carbone. He won 2 elementary school spelling bees and was kindly asked to leave the Boy Scouts of America." That's all I've done. Like, I've been trying to do this thing where I stopped putting things off. Like, I'm trying to watch 365 movies. 365 movies I'd never seen before, just to say I'd finally done it. And I started with Castaway. And then I just kept watching Castaway. Have you guys seen Castaway? Holy shit, it's amazing. I don't know, it all started like a year ago when I was almost in a terrible car accident. What happened was that I was on an icy freeway and a truck had crashed. I'll paint a picture for you, because over here was the cab, and over here was the trailer, and right through the middle was a car filled with screaming comedians. And it put everything in perspective, because, okay, Abraham Lincoln's last words are believed to have been, "I have no greater urge than to visit the land of Israel," which is a poignant as fuck way of saying, yo, I need a vacation. But if I had crashed that night, my last words would have been, "Yo, Dave, stop yelling the N-word!" It's not ideal. Like, I wouldn't wish a near-death experience on anybody, but I'm glad I had it because I learned, don't put off tomorrow what you can do today, and follow your dreams. And Tom Hanks is such an amazing actor that you will cry more over the death of a volleyball than you did at your grandfather's funeral. I do have that as a problem. I cry a lot in movies, and I think it's sometimes understandable. Like if it's like a touching father-son scene, or like a great musical score, or the first 10 minutes of Up. Because I'm not a fucking robot. But earlier, like late last year, I found myself crying while watching Avengers Age of Ultron. And not even like quiet, respectful Rudy crying. It was like just dumped rewatching The Notebook for the 100th time crying. It was so bad a guy turned around and yelled, "Hey! Shut up your fat baby!" First of all, harsh. Second of all, I see exactly where he was coming from. Third, guys, who's yelling at a fat baby? Life is already going to be way too hard for fat baby. Let him cry during the superhero movie. Anyway, it was pretty good. Fat Baby gives it 3 out of 4 stars. I don't know. I don't look ideal. Like, I'm starting to come to terms with the fact that I'm losing my hair, which is what you say. It's what you say when you're nowhere near coming to terms with the fact that you're losing your hair. Like from an aerial view, it just looks like a spooky cul-de-sac. It's not great. And like I want to shave all the hair off of my head, but then I'm worried I'll look like a fat Bruce Willis. And as nicknames go, I don't want to be called like Fat Die Hard. I don't know, I don't actually think I'd look like Bruce Willis. I think I'd look like a regular-sized Mr. Potato Head doll, stacked on top of a giant Mr. Potato Head doll. I'm fat, is what I'm saying. I don't know, I don't have what you would call like Hollywood good looks. I have what I like to call founding father good looks. Like, sir, if I were to come up to you and be like, "Hi, I'm a time-traveling Benjamin Franklin," you'd be like, "Yeah, I see it." And then you would teach me how to use an iPhone, I guess. You seem cool. I don't know, looking like this, I do have sex. I feel like I need to put that out there. I do have it. I just don't think I'm very good at it. Like I had a girlfriend who said she was getting bored in the bedroom. She goes, "I want to try spicing things up. I want to try role play." So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretend to be a sexy burglar who breaks into your apartment. And you have to seduce me into stopping. I was like, yeah, I can get into this. But also, I'm a method actor. So when she told me that, I went full DEFCON Home Alone. I tied paint cans to my ceiling. I bought a tarantula. I called up Joe Pesci to get some advice. Guys, he made a Snickers commercial. He is not happy. But my plan went off perfectly. And as she was escaping from my apartment, one of my old neighbors hit her over the back of the head with a snow shovel. Talked about how his kids never call. Now, he wasn't part of my plan. I just live in a really bad neighborhood. But as she was drifting into unconsciousness, put that tarantula on her face and said, "Keep the change, you filthy animal." And that's the entire plot of the first Home Alone movie. That's all. But we're thinking about doing it again next year in New York, so hopefully that's all. Hey guys, surprise, my parents aren't proud of me. Like, I think they love me, but I also know for a fact, like, pear-shaped comic book enthusiast was not on their child wish list. Like, last year around Stanley Cup time, I tried bonding with my dad over hockey. I tried. But about halfway through, I could only name players from the Mighty Ducks film series. So if he Googles who Gordon Bombay is, I am out of that will. My mom's great too. She's the strongest woman I've ever met, but she also definitely loves my younger brother more. Like, he could be the bloodiest serial killer North America has ever seen, and she would still call me up and be like, hey, did you watch CNN today? Your brother had 2 segments on Blitzer. They may never catch him. Meanwhile, I could work for NASA. I could call her up and be like, Mom, great news. I'm going to be the first man to walk on Mars. And she would say, good. Stay there. Guys, you awing is very sweet, but that's a joke. Because my mom doesn't pick up when I call. I go straight to voicemail. I was lucky enough to get married last year.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm very happy as well. She's great though. Like, I was worried going up to it that I was gonna ruin the wedding. Because I definitely ruined planning the wedding. Looking at things like cakes and themes and decorations. She spent a whole day doing this. And while she was doing that, I spent an equal amount of time trying to find out whether or not I could book the Baha Men to play our wedding. So 2 things happened. 1, I was no longer allowed to help plan the wedding. And 2, guys, I got to let the dogs out because the Baha Men are super affordable! Take advantage. I don't know, I love my wife, but I think she's a little quirky. She's a little out there. Like, she'll ask me questions that no person could ever answer. Like, the other day, she goes, hey, would you still love me if I was a raven? Just a heads up, there is no correct answer. And it's definitely not as a friend. I just had more questions, like, have you been a raven our entire relationship? Or did you recently piss off a wizard? Is it going to cause a fight if I constantly say, that's so raven? But like, there's a small voice in the back of my head that's worried that like 3 years into the marriage, she decides she's not happy. Just leaves one day and leaves a bird in the bed. Just wake up, just, oh, shit. She said this could happen. Guess I gotta fuck this bird now. That's gross. Guys, I'll get out of here on this. My wife is a huge nerd, and I love that for her, because I am too. Like, the first time I ever said I love you to her, she responded with that classic Star Wars line, I know. Which I'll admit, I saw coming. What I didn't see coming was that she then took 2 steps backwards and was lowered into a carbonite freezing chamber by Boba Fett. It's not a joke, this happened. No, the first time I ever said I love you to her, she responded actually with, frankly, Scarlett, I don't give a damn. And I was like, that's actually not how the quote goes. And she goes, what quote? And then she stabbed me. And as I was drifting into unconsciousness, she put a tarantula on my face. So, thank you guys, I'm Jamie Carbone.